Johnson.
Present.
Commissioner Lucas.
Present.
Vice Mayor Rainey.
Present.
Mayor Blade is absent.
I call the meeting to order, 7 o'clock on December the 19th. Commissioner Lucas, will you do the prayer and pledge, please?
Absolutely. If you stand. Dear Lord, we just thank you for this day. We ask that you bless this meeting tonight. Bless this city that we all love so much. Help us to make decisions tonight that are in the best interest of all of the citizens. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 4, approval of agenda. We need to remove item J and K under new business. So do I hear a motion that we approve the amended agenda?
Motion to approve the amended agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry. Do we want to do a roll call vote?
Commissioner Burks.
Aye.
Commissioner Lucas.
Aye.
Commissioner Dawson.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Rainey.
Aye. Item 5, public hearing for item 11C. Commissioner Birch?
Ordinance 2019-34, an ordinance governing the installation of playground equipment and/or other recreational equipment to be installed on city of Fairview-owned property. Commissioner Rainey.
Do we have anyone here to speak?
Can I take my public time to speak now? It's the same topic.
You're looking at me with this look on your face like I've messed this up somehow.
No, not at all. No, he certainly could take that as part of the public hearing.
Okay.
My name is David Dodaro. I live at 7551 Cherokee Hills Road here in Fairview. I am a member of the Playground Selection Committee, and we are narrowing that focus scope down so that we can really get this thing moving. I'd like to bring everyone's attention to one playground built here recently in Cookeville, the heart of the city. They realized a savings of a little over $500,000 using volunteers to not only mulch, plant shrubs and trees and things like that, but actually do some of the assembly in that playground. And there are other playgrounds across the country. I tried to do research on it last night and kind of came to a roadblock. But after having met with 5 different playground companies, each one of them have pointed out to us that with some volunteer labor, we can save the entire construction cost of a future playground. So I'd hope that the board will take that into consideration and maybe allow a little more volunteers instead of excluding them altogether. And I totally understand the liabilities of that, but that can help us bring in a playground sooner and even better, saving the money.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Citizen comments? Ms. Johnson, anyone? Item 7, public announcements, awards, and recognitions, audit presentation for fiscal year.
Yes, Vice Mayor Rand, that is the audit presentation by Uri Howell and Associates for the fiscal year that ended June 30, 2019. I believe we have someone from the firm to make a presentation to you.
Hello, sir.
Greetings, how are you?
Good, thank you for coming.
My name is John Rowland, and I'm an audit manager for Uri Howell and Associates, an accounting firm in Nashville. And we performed the audit this year as well as the past several years. And I'm happy to report, once again, the city received an unqualified audit opinion for the year end June 30, 19. We found had no audit findings whatsoever, and really doesn't get any better than that from an audit perspective.
Thank you. Any questions from anyone on the board? It's always good to hear that news. Thank you
Yes,
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Staff comments and monthly reports. Mr. Collins?
Yes, Vice Mayor Randy, members of the commission, just one item for you tonight, just as a reminder. Next week, obviously, is Christmas. City Hall will be closed on December 23rd, 24th, and 25th. We added Monday this year, or the 23rd, simply because of the schedule for Christmas as it fell. We did make a change to our holiday closings for this year in exchange for December 23rd. The city will be open on President's Day. So there'll be no cost of an additional holiday or day of closure for the city. We simply swapped a future date closure for the 23rd. So it just made sense from an operational standpoint to do that. So I'd like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. Thank all of our staff. I hope they enjoy those days off, and thank you for what you do as a part of allowing us to do that.
Thank you. Mr. Potter?
I'd like to wish you all a Merry Christmas. It's been a very productive year, and thank you for the hard work that you put into the city of Fairview.
We can't hear you.
I'll praise you again. Thank you for all the hard work that you put in for the city of Fairview. It's been a productive year with a lot happening, and thank you and Merry Christmas.
Thank you, sir. Item 9, consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Johnson?
Commissioner Lucas,
Aye.
Commissioner Burks,
Aye.
Commissioner Dawson,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Rainey.
Aye. Old business, there is none. New business? Commissioner Burks?
Ordinance 2019-32, an ordinance establishing the compensation of the City of Fairview elected officials. Mr. Collins?
Vice Mayor Randy, members of the commission, I'll walk through this item for you. We've had this discussion at a work session, but it is rather complicated, so we'll just walk through the process. Under Tennessee Code and the Charter, this body has the authority to establish salaries of its elected officials within certain parameters, those being that the mayor's salary per month cannot exceed $1,000 and a city commissioner's salary cannot exceed $950 per month. Those are the numbers that we have to work within. There are also regulations that govern when the establishment of a salary can take place. Primarily, no sitting body can establish increased salary rates during their term. Typically, we have staggered terms in the city, which means there would be staggered rate or salary increases if they were to be approved. We do have a bit of an odd schedule for the election cycle of 2020 in that 4 BOC seats will be up for reelection. Each of your seats will be up for reelection. Typically, we've had 2 BOC seats or 3 BOC seats 1 year. 2 years later, 1 BOC in the mayor. You may recall a couple of years ago, we restructured that so we could get 2 and 2. That has presented the opportunity that all 4 BOC seats will be up for election this coming year, which gives us an opportunity we will likely not have going forward of establishing BOC and mayoral salaries almost all at one time. These seats, any vote that you take tonight will be effective after the installation of the elected BOC members that are elected in the next election. So within that, it's an opportunity to reset the scale for a couple of reasons that we'll get into in the next agenda item. But with that, what I have proposed for you tonight is an ordinance that would increase the mayor's salary to $1,000, the maximum, beginning January 1, 2023. The mayor's seat is not up for election until November of 2022. So during the interim, if this passes, the mayor's salary would be $450 per month until January of 2023, and then it will be $1,000 per month. That would be the installation of the next mayor or the reelection of Mayor Blade, whichever way that goes, if it would be beyond his current term. The second part of this would be to increase the BOC monthly salary to $950 a month, effective January 1, 2021, which would be at the after the installation of the BOC members elected in November of 2020, meaning that this provides us an opportunity to increase those salaries while affecting none of our elected officials, but making as much of the change at one time as can be made. So if this were to pass, beginning January of 2021, the BOC members would receive $950 per month, and the mayor would receive $450 until January 1, 2023, when the mayor would increase to $1,000. There's not going to be another time where we can affect 4 BOC seats with one election without staggered salaries for the BOC members. That's why I've presented this to you tonight. The opportunity to do this, again, will not likely present itself for years, decades maybe. And given the work that the BOC puts in, given the work that the mayor puts in, given all of the work that's going to come to us in the future, I don't believe that these rates of pay are unreasonable for the work that's done and for the schedule that presents itself as favorable to make this change.
Thank you, Mr. Collins.
I've got a question, Vice Mayor Rainey. So effectively, this sounds like we're voting the 4 of us a raise. That's what it sounds like.
Certainly.
Can you go into a little bit about health benefits that are currently offered versus pay? And I think we'll probably get into that as we go down here, but I think it's good to kind of discuss what is offered in the position currently.
Yes, sir. And we'll have a discussion kind of that kind of rolls over into 11B, the next item, but I think that will help. In addition to the election of the BOC members that takes place in November of 2020, in which all 4 seats are up, we have 2 additional elections in August of 2020. First is the municipal court judge. The second is the first election of a city's municipal court clerk. The municipal court clerk's position will be a full-time position. However, because of that, there needs to be a discussion for the establishment of what employment benefits are eligible to elected officials. There's been some discussion about that in the past. As it stands now, the elected officials, BOC members, mayor, municipal court judge, through some previous actions and discussions by previous boards, those current members are eligible for health insurance benefits. The difference in that is from a cost standpoint, if the current compensation for the elected officials, BOC members, is $450. The current total cost for family coverage health insurance to the city for anyone participating in family health insurance is closer to $800. So if you have one elected official who participates in the health insurance, they get their $450 a month. They pay the employee's portion of the health insurance benefits, and the city picks up the remaining, the city portion of the health benefits, which is about $600. The elected official not participating in the health insurance plan only gets the benefit of the $450 per month. Moving from $450 per month to $950 per month puts all of the BOC members and the mayor, let's assume that it's $1,000, but let's say it's $950, that puts all of the elected officials on the same compensation or employment cost if we're including health insurance and BOC compensation. Everyone then gets the same amount each month, and then if that elected official chooses to participate in the health insurance, they would simply pay 100% of the health insurance cost. There's not a lot of cost to the city to go from the $450 a month to the $950 a month because, as is their right, there are some elected officials who participate in the health insurance plan. This simply cleans up the matter going forward. The total cost, while it sounds like a lot of money as you look at this, and it sounds like a raise, the total cost to the city, if you look at the health insurance cost and this, total cost to the city is only about $1,200. By the time we make this change and offset what we're currently paying for health insurance. So it's a financial cleanup matter for the city with minimal cost total to the city over what's currently being paid. I hope I've answered that question some, but
Yeah, I think so. So if everybody on the BOC were to take their stipend or their $450 and receive the benefit of health insurance, that would be over the $950. Is that correct?
yes, if they were to do that, that would be over the
Right.
$950, yes.
So this is really securing then for the city to make sure that we don't go over that.
From a total cost, yes.
Right.
You also do that without penalizing the elected officials' current future by
Right.
making sure that that benefit still is eligible to them at no more cost than currently is today in a net sum
Right.
value. So,
Okay.
Any more discussion? Do we have a motion?
Second.
We have a first and a second. Anything else we want to talk about this one? Ready to vote? Ms. Johnson?
Commissioner Burks,
Aye.
Commissioner Dawson,
Aye.
Commissioner Lucas,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Rainey.
Aye.
thank you.
Motion approved. Item B,
Ordinance 2019-33, an ordinance establishing, ordinance establishing employment benefits eligibility for City of Fairview elected officials. Mr. Collins?
Yes, Vice Mayor Rainey, members of the commission, what this measure does is simply codify those employment benefits that have not previously been codified or put into municipal code. Those benefits eligibility are there, but they've not been put in ordinance form to identify this. What makes this important is the fact that you're going to have, pursuant to the municipal court clerk election in August, you're going to have a full-time elected official at the city that is going to require us to establish by code what those full-time and part-time elected official employment benefits are. Without having this in some codified form as a part of the municipal code, then it's lent to interpretation, and that's not good as to where we are. So what this does is make available to part-time elected officials the participation in the city's health insurance plan, just as we discussed in the previous measure. So there would be no change in that opportunity whatsoever. It would still exist as it does. The change would relate to the full-time elected position, whereas now we have a municipal court clerk who is not elected. They have previously been appointed as an employee of the city. Once the election takes place and a municipal court clerk is elected, they will no longer be effectively an employee of the city or under the direction of the employment of the city. They will be a full-time elected official separate from direction by the city manager or any other board or body. This simply spells out their eligibility for benefits, which would be the city's health insurance plan and participation in the Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System plan. Those two benefits would be afforded to full-time elected officials, but there would be no other benefits. Vacation time, sick leave, those sorts of things would not be provided to those full-time elected officials because we have no governance right over those matters. So this measure provides for part-time elected officials, the judge, mayor, city commissioners, to participate in the city's health insurance plan, and full-time elected officials, the court clerk or other full-time elected officials, to participate in the health insurance plan and the Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System, no other benefits. That's the matter you have before you.
With the difference, the part-time paying 100%, correct?
Correct.
And the full-time
The
paying
full-
like a city
The
employee?
full-time participating as a city, is any other city employee would pay.
Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Ms. Johnson?
Commissioner Burks?
Aye.
Commissioner Dawson?
Aye.
Lucas?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Rainey?
Aye. Item 11C, Commissioner Burks.
Ordinance 2019-34, an ordinance governing the installation of playground equipment and/or other recreational equipment to be installed on City of Fairview-owned property. Commissioner Rainey.
I think can we discuss this? I think the reason this came about was because I think the design committee is looking at an inclusive playground. Inclusive playground equipment is not necessarily always those things that, we're used to putting together in our backyard, and requires possibly more skilled and creates a bigger liability issue than just swings and slides. I would like for us to talk about this as we can have volunteers put together stuff that are typical playground things, slides, swings, simple things, but any kind of specialized equipment. I mean, could we talk about anything that requires certain bracing? I mean, I don't think this is ever intended to be as strict as this sounds like it is. And at this point in time, we don't even know what we're building. So I would like to table this until we get at least a recommendation from the Playground Committee.
Vice Mayor Rainey, if we could leave it open for discussion prior to tabling it,
Okay.
that'd be all right. Okay.
I'll remove my table offer.
You have the floor. Thank you. I agree. There's a lot that volunteers can do outside of fundraising and all those very needed things. Installing fences, landscaping, painting, installing certain items under supervision, I think is very much appropriate. Again, like Vice Mayor Rainey stated, when we start getting to some specialized equipment, swings for a person in a wheelchair where they have to be strapped in or something along those lines, I would want to make sure above and beyond that is completely safe and someone who's highly qualified to install that is doing so. I think we can have a mix of contractors doing certain things and still utilize a lot of volunteer labor to help build this project, to keep the costs down, to have that community involvement. I think that is the intention here. It's not to say volunteers can't do anything. I'm not sure exactly this time how we are going to differentiate those things. Again, some of that's going to depend on what kind of playground we build. If we do the natural playground option, there's probably much less specialized equipment that would be needed, if any, such that volunteer labor may be able to do all of that. But if we get into that more complex, all-inclusive playground, then I think we shift to we need some contract labor to do some of that. I think everybody in this community wants it to be as safe as possible, so all our kids are safe using it. Aside from the liability issue, the first issue is to make sure these kids are safe. After that, we have to look at the liability issue. It's not a fun thing to consider, but as the elected officials, we have to safeguard the liability of the city because it's not our money, it's y'all's money. If something has to be paid, it's y'all who are paying it. So we have to do everything we can to protect that. So those are my thoughts.
Any other discussion?
I do. So I think we all got emails from Eileen Brogan. She reached out to two of the companies, Leather and Associates and Recreation Concepts. They're the people that built the all-inclusive playground, Mary's Magical Place, I believe is what it's called. Both of those companies use community involvement volunteers to build those things. Some of the questions that she asked them were some of the same questions that we've been asking. The equipment that they built, they have supervisors on staff that are there during the build, that it still allows volunteers to be a part of the build. After it's all done, these supervisors go through and inspect everything, make sure everything is right. She asked about liability to the city for these other playgrounds that they've built. It's really no different, as best as they're saying. These are the people that I think this company's been around since 1971, so I can imagine they've built a lot of playgrounds. I just personally don't think that we have a need for this. I understand the thought process of the liability issue, but from what I'm reading from at least two of the companies that I'm guessing the Park and Landscape Board are considering, it's part of what they do every day. So for me personally, whether we table this or we vote on this tonight, my vote would be no. For two reasons. Number one, I want the community involvement. I think we all do, but I don't think we should. This is very restrictive, the ordinance as it's written today. And then the second reason I would vote no is I think we're way too ahead of the game. We don't even know the company we're gonna pick yet. So to say that we don't, it's just too restrictive in my opinion. And like I said, we all saw these emails. It's done all over the country. A couple of weeks ago, I would have probably said yes, I'm worried about the liability issue, but then after reading from these companies that do this every day, I don't think there's a difference really. So my vote tonight would either be to take this off the agenda permanently or just to vote no.
Vice Mayor, if I may.
Yes.
I reached out to Leather and Associates because that's one of the names I knew of, and I spoke with them. Part of the concern is going to be this. Different pieces of equipment have different warranties based upon who the manufacturer is and some of these things. For instance, the recycled plastic timbers, Trevix, whatever you want to call it, has a 50-year warranty, whereas a slide may have a 10-year, 15, 20, whatever. That's part of the concern is that liability change depending on what that item is? Is it inherently dangerous item? Mr. Potter knows what I'm talking about with that type of thing. So I don't know that we can say yes or no until we know all of that, because we may have a piece of equipment that's particularly, if not done well and safe, is more dangerous than a slide. Again, we have to know all of that, and we don't know all of that. And we won't know until A, we know what kind of playground we're going to build, and B, who we're looking at to build it. At that point, that whoever that company is will come to us after we decide what we want in it, say, okay, here's your different warranties. This company, it may affect their warranty for this item. We don't know, because they all are different. Because they're not building all the individual parts that you put onto it. It's going to be whatever that particular manufacturer is. So I don't know that we need to vote on it now, and I don't think this ordinance as written was necessarily what was intended to be passed so much as a starting point to look at, so that we could have a discussion on it.
I just have one point. I've never built a playground before, but Leather and Associates have built thousands of playgrounds, and I know that we have a concern about safety, absolutely, 110%, and I know that they do as well. That's what they do. They are not going to build an unsafe playground, period. They're in the business of doing this. They are the subject matter experts. And Kyle Cundy with Leather and Associates wrote this, the community build install process does not invalidate warranties. And a warranty specifically says, if done correctly, the way that we want it done, it's not going to fall down and kill people or hurt people or do whatever. So the subject matter experts are telling us that we do community build and we feel great about it. So I'm not an expert. I probably doubt anybody here is an expert, but we have experts here that do this every day, and they say that the community build is completely okay. So I suggest we take this off or we vote.
I have a question. Commissioner Burks, you said that Leathers told you that some of the vendors did have different warranties for their equipment.
Yes. The problem is Leathers doesn't build all the equipment. They, I guess you call it sub it out or whatever. They'll go to this company who provides this particular item, whatever that is. And their warranty is going to be based upon whatever that company provides. So it's kind of hard to say it doesn't affect the warranty or liability until you know, until you see what that equipment is and what that warranty is, and if there's a waiver of liability on that individual item. When you're dealing with Leathers, you're also dealing with a salesperson, so you always have to keep that in mind as well. I think it's something we can look at the time, and it may not be any difference, but there is a possibility that it could be based upon that particular item. They may say, if this isn't installed by a licensed contract, whatever, it'll void the warranty, and we don't know.
And unfortunately, this resolution doesn't address that. This is a blanket resolution for everything. And I think you're right, Commissioner Burks. We should look at every piece of that when we determine who we should choose to build this. And it should not be in resolution or law form that binds us as an overall blanket statement.
And again, I'll say, I don't think this was what was necessarily intended to be passed so much as this was a starting point to look at and to get some discussion on the topic. So,
Any other discussion? Is there a motion?
Vice Mayor, just as a point of suggestion, if my suggestion would be rather than table this, just simply take no action on it. A tabling of a matter indicates that it is going to be brought back up at some defined time. My suggestion would be simply take no action on this matter tonight. It goes away. It does not reappear on any agenda until such time in the future as someone wants to bring it back for reconsideration.
Do we need a motion for that, or can we just take no action?
You can just take no action.
Okay. Then item D, new business, take no action. I'm sorry, C. New business, item D, Commissioner Burks.
ordinance 2019-38, a resolution to adopt revisions to the zoning ordinance for the city of Fairview, Tennessee, to amend the zoning ordinance as it pertains to Article 4, supplementary use regulations, Section 4-101.5, provisions applicable to community facility activities, subsection 101.5.12, special personal and group care facilities. Say that fast 5 times.
Mr. Collins.
Yes, Vice Mayor Randy, members of the commission, is a point of reference. Items D, E, F, and G all come to you with favorable recommendations from the Planning Commission. All 4 of these items are a matter of language cleanup within our zoning ordinance. The effective change is minimal as the function of the ordinances, but it is important for the cleanup so that the ordinance within themselves don't have competing language. So as you go down each one of these, D, E, F, and G, just know that these are matters of cleanup more than they are matters of procedure. And they each come with a recommendation from the Planning Commission. So given that these are also first readings, it would be prudent if you wanted to consider those as recommendations by the Planning Commission, and that'd be your discussion for each of those 4 items, unless you choose to have an individual discussion on those.
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Ms. Johnson?
Commissioner Burks,
Aye.
Commissioner Dawson,
Aye.
Commissioner Lucas,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Rainey.
Aye. New business, item E. Commissioner Burks?
Ordinance 2019-39, a resolution to adopt revisions to the zoning ordinance in the city of Fairview, Tennessee, to amend the zoning ordinances as it pertains to Article 8, Commercial District Regulations.
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Johnson?
Commissioner Lucas,
Aye.
Commissioner Burks,
Aye.
Commissioner Dawson,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Rainey.
Aye. New business, item F. Commissioner Burks?
Ordinance 2019-40, a resolution to adopt revisions to the zoning ordinance for the city of Fairview, Tennessee, to amend the zoning ordinance as it pertains to Article 17, Administration and Enforcement, Section 17-102.2, Zoning Permits, subsections 102.2, Grading Permits. Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Johnson?
Commissioner Burks,
Aye.
Commissioner Lucas,
Aye.
Commissioner Dawson,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Rainey.
Aye. New business, item G. Commissioner Burks?
Ordinance 2019-41, a resolution to adopt revisions to the zoning ordinance for the city of Fairview, Tennessee, to amend zoning ordinances as it pertains to Article 17, Administration and Enforcement, Section 17-103, Required Plans, subsections 17-103.8, Bonding of Site Improvements, and 17-103.8, Maintenance Bonds. Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Johnson?
Commissioner Burks,
Aye.
Commissioner Lucas,
Aye.
Commissioner Dawson,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Rainey.
Aye. New business, item H. Commissioner Burks?
Resolution 40-19, a resolution of the City of Fairview Board of Commissioners to adopt the amended Williamson County Multi-Hazard Mitigation Plan.
Mr. Collins?
Yes, Vice Mayor Rainey, members of the commission, this resolution comes to us from the Williamson County Emergency Management Agency. Every 5 years, they adopt a new hazard mitigation plan. Along with that adoption, they request that all of the municipalities within Williamson County adopt the same mitigation plan as a part of a partnership for us to be able to proceed with any of those mitigations that take place during the year, or if we can partner on mitigations or related matters. The item that you have before you tonight is the item that was passed by the Williamson County Commission in November of 2017. This is just simply their request that we adopt the same mitigation plan procedurally as we do every 5 years. That's what you have before you tonight.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Johnson?
Commissioner Burks,
Aye.
Commissioner Dawson,
Aye.
Commissioner Lucas,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Rainey.
Aye. New business, item I. Commissioner Burks?
Resolution 41-19, a resolution of the City of Fairview Board of Commissioners accepting the city's audit for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2019. Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I would like to say to Mr. Collins, thank you for once again getting our budget in order and doing a good job on that.
Absolutely, thank you. That's certainly a team effort. That work's done in this room primarily, so thank you.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Ms. Johnson?
Commissioner Burks,
Aye.
Commissioner Lucas,
Aye.
Commissioner Dawson,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Rainey.
Aye. We have taken off J and K.
Vice Mayor, can I add just one thing before you get into Commissioner's business tonight? Just a point of reference, if you take a look at this is the last meeting you'll have for this year. If you look at the agenda, it reflects that this is the 41st ordinance considered by the BOC this year. In 24 meetings, this is the 41st ordinance that you've considered. It also references the 41st resolution that's been considered this year. I don't think there's a year in Fairview's history where there's been that much work that has taken place by any BOC at any time over the course of 12 months. In addition to that, you've also accepted a comprehensive plan that will guide the city for the next 20 years. So as you consider your comments tonight and how you close, I think you should be completely proud of the work that you've done that goes unseen, because as you get into the community and you have conversations and people hear what goes on at City Hall, what doesn't go on at City Hall, how does it function, how does it not function, I would argue that over the last 12 months, this board's had more function than any board in Fairview's history. So as you consider how you close tonight, I think you should be very much proud of the work that you've done over the last 12 months, because I don't think it's been equaled in any time since Fairview's been in existence. So, thank you.
Thank you. Item 12, communications from the mayor and commissioners. Commissioner Dawson.
Oh, man, so this is our last meeting. Wow, that's a big deal. I wanted to communicate to everybody how proud I am to live in the city of Fairview, and just what a great city that we have here, from the amenities that we have, from the workers that we have here, the employees that we have that work so hard for us every day. Just a quick example, I believe it was earlier this week or over the weekend, we had a house fire. The fire department, Fairview Fire Department, was there within a couple of minutes and saved this entire house. The police department out there every day, the public works, every employee that we have working for us every day is what keeps Fairview beautiful. And it is what keeps us wanting to come back home every day. I am just so proud to be a citizen here in the city of Fairview, and our employees every day make it happen for us. So this year, I am thankful for all of our employees that work so hard for us every single day. And I just think about what is on the horizon for the city of Fairview. I mean, there are big things in store for the city. And I'm not talking about explosive growth with 4,000 homes coming in. I'm talking about things that we're going to enjoy. Improvement of the parks, maybe another park. Just things on the horizon to look forward to make the city of Fairview better, more beautiful. So I want to thank not only the employees, but I want to thank all of my fellow citizens as well. We have a group of people here that are exceptional in the city of Fairview, that care about one another. We've seen that with other events that have happened, with house fires and people taking up money so people will have Christmas presents and things for kids to wear. It's just amazing what our community will do for each other. So I want to thank the employees, and I want to thank the citizens of Fairview, and I want to thank my colleagues on the BOC, and I want to thank everybody here tonight.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Lucas.
Thank you. I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Be safe. Enjoy time with your family and your friends. Also want to say, kind of reiterate what Commissioner Dawson said. We have some great employees here at the city. When it comes to the audit, another good audit. Thank you to Tom. Thank you to Mr. Collins. When Mr. Collins spoke about all the work that's been done this past year, and he thanked us up here, that is more really the people behind the scenes, truthfully. Sometimes we get the credit, but really there's a lot of people that work really, really hard in this building every day. And I don't think they get enough credit. So thank you very much for all that you do. That's all I have tonight.
Commissioner Parks.
I guess on that same note, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Eid. Everyone here at the city works very, very hard, and they have worked extremely hard this year. Whether it's our police department that are willing to go into danger for us, whether it's our fire department that are willing to run into a burning building to save somebody, whether it's our streets department dodging cars while they're trying to do their job, whether it's people at the park trying to make sure it's safe and enjoyable for all our citizens, whether it's people here at City Hall that make the city run the way it's supposed to. Everybody has done an amazing job. This is an amazing place to live. I'm not originally from here. My wife brought me here. But it is home. It's where I brought my kids home to when they were born. I care about this community very much. That's why myself, my fellow commissioners volunteer. Well, I guess we do get paid, but it feels we're spending our time here. There's nights I stay up, can't sleep because I'm concerned about something going on. I know that's everybody else. We put in a lot of time and effort because this community deserves that. The citizens deserve that. We've worked as hard as we can, and we will continue to work hard for you. The Planning Commission has done a lot of work this year. We've been able to revamp all our zoning ordinances, our subdivision regulations, the design review manual. If you want to talk about tedious and you can't sleep, read through those things, and it will cure that, I promise you. And I know we had to read all of that, and that's in addition to reviewing all these subdivisions that have come through, all these conceptual plans, all this stuff. The city works hard for the citizens. I know some people don't see that, but please know that we do, and we do it because we care and we love this community. So, happy holidays.
Well, going last, the only bad thing about that is this, unless I repeat everything everyone else has said, it would be kind of ridiculous. So for once, I agree with all three of you. Everything you've said is true. It is a great place to live. I've been here almost 45 years, and my husband brought me here. He was a native, and every day I'm glad that he did. So thank you for all you do. And Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and be safe. Enjoy time with your family. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
And we are adjourned.
Merry Christmas.